welcome back to Mimsy Park. Today we are going to be reviewing 2020's Ghosts of War. This is a supernatural horror movie, which I really like supernatural horror movies, and it's also a period war drama in a sense, which I like period war movies as well, and I actually really like period horror movies. It's why I like movies like Dead Birds and The Pale Door. And this movie has all the elements of something I would like, but it just never really seems to pick up speed. Basically, we're introduced to a squad of 5 soldiers who are on their way to this mansion during World War II. They have to hold this mansion, I believe it's in France, because it was important for some reason. And basically, while they're there, after they relieve the other squad that's there, they start to go through all of these supernatural events and all of these things that quickly take it more into kind of a nightmare territory. I'm gonna say right now, I don't really know how to go about doing this review without spoilers, because there are so many elements in this movie that kind of trickle off into one another, and it makes it very hard to talk about something without ruining it. There is a sci-fi element to this movie. It doesn't come in till the very end. It's supposed to make it make sense, but it's really just kind of disappointing, because you go through this whole nightmare scenario in this mansion and them dealing with ghosts and the supernatural. There's nothing really new. There's nothing really exciting. Most of the scares are jump scares. I would say almost all of the actual scares are jump scares. There's spooky moments, there's creepy moments, but none of it's really new. Like, you've seen all of this before. You've seen all of this before, I promise. Now, it is a fun ride. Don't get me wrong. This was a fun movie, but I think it's only going to be a fun movie if you really enjoy these horror movies put into different periods of time. I like horror movies that are set in different times in the past. And again, I think that's why I enjoyed this so much. So if you're going into this expecting like some new, exciting, groundbreaking horror movie, you're going to be disappointed. There's a good chance you're going to be disappointed regardless, because it was a lot of fun. This is a fun movie, but it's all very like, there's the occult and there's ghosts. And there's the silhouettes of ghosts in hallways, and there's reflections from behind, and you see the ghosts from behind them, and they turn around, and they're not there anymore. A lot of very generic scares. The whole World War II dynamic does kind of save a big aspect of this. There's actually this really cool battle scene when they're in the mansion, and a convoy of Nazis pull up, and they have to fight them off. And the whole reason that they have to fight them off is because the house starts making gunshot sounds. Like they're getting ready to leave, and as they're leaving, the house starts making these gunshot sounds. And none of the American soldiers are the ones firing, so this whole battle scene ensues. One of the characters does end up dying because he jumps on the grenade. And you do get the dynamic of the family's history. There's a journal that's being read the whole time. And there's all these really cool elements that really do help drive the story along. The dialogue gets clunky from time to time, but I was actually really on board with this movie up until the last, like, 20 minutes. Because really what we find out is that it's all a simulation, which is such an unbelievably lazy way to do this. It really was incredibly lazy to go, no, it's just a simulation the whole time. You were actually in the war in Afghanistan, experienced all this horrible shit, and we had to basically bring you back, and they're like, the soldiers are in this medical room, and they're all disfigured, they've lost limbs, they've lost that, and you find out that basically everything that's been going on is this reflection of what they've actually dealt with, except placed into a World War II dynamic. You know, we do find out they shouldn't have experienced all of this. Basically, the machine is haunted, or because they're in the simulation and they did this ritual that made the family stronger. Somehow the simulation getting stronger, or them getting stronger in the simulation, is enough to make the ghost strike. It's weird. The ending literally just falls apart. As Mike the Finder and I kind of addressed in the podcast that we did, this is kind of a common theme that you do see in horror movies a lot. They just have no clue on how to end the thing. And this is a prime example of that. I gotta say, all the actors in this movie actually play their parts very well. The acting was actually very well done, especially when you consider how clunky a lot of the dialogue was. The soldier who plays, I can't remember his name, but he's the one that there's this story about him playing Cat's Cradle, or them finding him playing Cat's Cradle after killing these Hitler Youth soldiers. You really end up actually feeling for him because of how well the actor playing him really does. I do know one of the actors is Theo Rossi. He's been in a lot of different military movies, and I actually really do like him. The plot, though the premise is really good, the plot kind of unfolds, and at times the pacing feels weird. It doesn't unfold slowly. It feels like it feels like at times it's kind of fragmenting, and then it kind of pulls itself back together. All in all, a very fun movie. Not one, not one that I'll be looking for on store shelves. Not one that I'll probably get around to watching again anytime soon. You do get to see them basically do the whole Inglourious Basterds thing to a group of Nazis, which that was fun. I enjoyed that. There's this whole part in that scene where one of the American soldiers ends up boxing the Nazi, and then like they go through this whole boxing match, and once the American soldier starts losing, like one of the American other soldiers comes over and just shoots him in the head, which would normally be very brutal and cruel, but Nazis. And then the ending is the exact same scene as the beginning, which it ends with him saying, "Put me back in, put me back in." They put him back in, and then that's how the movie ends. The special effects aren't terrible. No, I take that back. The special effects were actually pretty bad. The CGI was not very good at all. So there is that. Every aspect of this movie was very like lackluster. You had a really cool premise, even kind of a cool plot, that you ended with really what feels like just a giant you to the audience. Like, that's really what it felt like. I did end up watching this on Netflix, so it is streaming on Netflix right now. It's not quite a year old. I was trying to find a new movie to watch, like from 2021, but as Brittany pointed out, we've been in 2021 for 25 days. So there wasn't really a whole lot to choose from as far as that goes. I do hope you guys enjoyed this movie review. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you liked the video, a dislike if you didn't like it. If you didn't like it, leave me comments down in the comments. Constructive comments. And if you do have any movie suggestions that you want me to watch, leave those down in the comments as well. I have reviewed movies that some of you have suggested in the past, and I would love to make that more of a regular thing. So again, guys, subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.